Hi everyone, my name is Bhavana. I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area, and I moved to New York 3 years ago. New York has been so incredible. I moved here because I wanted to dance, and over the past few years, I've been able to meet really incredible artists who come from diverse backgrounds, diverse training methodologies, and who have really beautiful mindsets in approaching dance. And it's been a treat to learn from all of them and to work with them, and really excited to contribute in my own way to the New York dance community. I've been training in Kuchipudi since I was 4 years old, and along the way, I've picked up a few other dance forms or been exposed to them through different high school and college activities. And now here in New York, it's wonderful to see the kind of work that artists are doing that's cross genre. I grew up in a Telugu speaking family, but to teach with Arambam and to get to know the Tamil community is also such a treat because there are a lot of shared cultural practices and values and language similarities between the two, but it's also really wonderful to be able to teach two Tamil songs because a lot of Tamil songs have Telugu counterparts and vice versa. So you get to hear the same lyrics expressed in two different ways. And so learning lyrics to Tamil songs and understanding what they mean and understanding how maybe they're expressing the same sentiment is also very eye-opening in some ways. But also it's wonderful to connect with people who speak different languages but maybe share the same values and sentiments. One random day when I was 4 years old, apparently my dad put me in Kuchipudi class and it turned out to be the best decision he ever made. I was fortunate enough to go to a dance class where my guru really encouraged students to learn from each other. And so our dance class was structured in what was called a Gurukulam style, where all levels of students were in dance class at the same time. So we weren't siloed. As young dancers, we were getting to see older dancers and senior dancers and seeing how they approached more complex dances. And so just by watching, I think I really developed my love for dance. And since then, Kuchipudi's played a huge role in my life where I feel like it's my medium for self-expression. I've gotten to go really deep into it and learn a variety of different dances, and I've also gotten to do my master's in Kuchipudi, which has been really incredible. And you get to learn the history of the dance form, how the different cultural and traditional movements in India have influenced how art is expressed in South Asian cultures. And so I think overall Kuchipudi has really influenced the way I look at the world and also the way I move and think about movement. The beautiful thing about watching other people dance is that you get to see the same choreography in different ways. It's like the same text in different fonts almost, where everyone has their own way of expressing the same emotion. And so it really taught me that dance isn't monolithic. There's not one right way to do things. It's what feels right for you. And so I think that's the way I approach movement too, is I like to do what feels right for me and what feels right in my body. I still take Kuchipudi classes regularly from my gurus. They're on Zoom, so not quite the same Gurukulam style that we used to have. But whenever I'm back in Northern Virginia, I go visit my dance class. I did teach for a few years while I was there in person, and it's such a treat to see your students grow into their own dancers. It's wonderful to see them become passionate about it over time and to find their footing in it. And so I don't actively teach regularly now, but I do really enjoy teaching because I think it teaches you a lot about yourself. And you get to explore the movement in your own body, which then helps translate it to another body and kind of help people discover how it feels on them. I think teaching workshops is a really unique experience. One, you get to meet a beautiful community of dancers and you're communicating mainly through movement, right? It's minimal talking, more dancing, which is really a great way to know people, honestly, because you get to see so many different personalities in the room and it's a wonderful community building experience. Also, cool thing about workshops is that for the choreographer, in those 2 hours, you're getting to create something that was maybe purely from your own experience, but then again, you're getting to watch it on other bodies. So the choreography that I've taught has been to songs that I've really loved, and that choreography just came out of loving the rhythms and the grooves and the meanings and the lyrics in those songs. And so to be able to translate that love into movement and then for 2 hours get to guide other people through it and then see how they make it their own is really special. And in teaching, I've gotten to experience that, and also going to workshops, I've gotten to experience it where for 2 hours, you're blocking out the noise in the world. It's just you in a space with other people and all you're doing is dancing, and you really get to go into the song and kind of experience the emotions. And maybe every workshop looks a little bit different. Some I'm thinking about my movement quality, some I'm thinking about technique, some I'm thinking about emotion, some I'm thinking about I just want to release. It's been a stressful day and I just want to let everything go. And so every workshop kind of serves its own purpose, but I think what's also really cool is that you can grow as you keep going and you can really find your own groove over time. So, a lot of people have a mental model of Kuchipudi as it being a really similar dance form to Bharatanatyam. And in a lot of ways, there is a shared movement vocabulary, but Kuchipudi is distinct in its flow, its bounce, its swing, and it also has a very distinct method of storytelling. But I think with any Indian classical dance form, what's really important to understand is that the movement vocabulary of these dance forms has really evolved over time. A lot of these movements came from communities who subsisted on storytelling with a specific pattern of dance and song. And over time, they've evolved. They've been passed through other communities and they've been codified into what we now call an Indian classical dance form. And so understanding the history of it and where it came from is very important. But after knowing that, and after getting the flavor of the type of movement, then you can adapt it and make it your own. And it's really fun to be able to bring that to different audiences. In the past few years, there have been a bunch of really cool opportunities I've gotten to explore through dance, whether it be music videos with visiting choreographers or New York-based choreographers, or getting to create with my friends, just off the cuff, dancing together and see what we come up with, or performances around the city in kind of small, intimate spaces, but spaces where you can really connect with your audience. That's been really special. Or I did a music video with an artist where there was a concept surrounding Hindu mythology, which was very interesting and exploratory in a really new way. And all these different opportunities add up, and maybe they're all different forms of dance and different dance styles, but you really learn a lot just from being in those spaces and observing how other artists, maybe not necessarily dancers, approach their craft. And most recently, I was in a production called Clothesline with a fellow dancer, Jivika Bhatt. She's a beautiful artistic contemporary dancer, and it was a very meaningful story, intergenerational story. And that was a live production that we did. And that was also a mix of Indian classical dance styles and contemporary dance. But experiencing the mix of Indian classical and contemporary and other dance forms is very enlightening in and of itself because you learn the limits of your body and how you can move differently, tell stories maybe in a way that's unique to Indian Americans or to children of the Indian diaspora. I've also gotten a chance to explore Kuchipudi opportunities, whether it was performing in different venues in India, across Andhra, across Tamil Nadu, different temples, and getting to experience the microcultures in smaller cities in Andhra and Tamil Nadu, and getting to dance and give back to the energy of those communities has been really special. And my family is also musically oriented, and so I grew up listening to a lot of Carnatic music and also different types of film music from spanning a whole bunch of decades. So old black and white to newer music. And so I think the kind of combination of dance and music and Kuchipudi being the vehicle for helping me express myself is what kind of kept me around. And so even after high school, going into college, it was something that made me feel grounded. If I ever felt homesick, it was something I could go back to and feel like I was just going back into myself and reconnecting with myself. So over time, that passion for Kuchipudi made me want to pursue it in a deeper level and to really understand it from a historical and social and economic political lens. And that's what led me to do my master's degree, where I wanted the tools to really help me learn to choreograph and learn to even express a little bit more deeply, learn to tell more nuanced stories through Kuchipudi. And that's what the master's has really afforded me. And so now being on the other side of the master's, what I've learned is how to collaborate with musicians. I've learned the kind of technical foundations of rhythm and melody, but I've also learned about like where modern day Kuchipudi comes from and how we can best honor and respect it and still continue to take it forward and to bring it to new audiences and to make sure it continues to evolve with time as well. The opportunity to travel and to be able to share dance with other communities across the US is such an incredible opportunity. I'm so excited for it, especially because we're seeing that dance isn't contained to a New York or to an LA. It's so universal, and there's people who want to dance and who want to share in that energy everywhere. And so to be a part of that movement and to be able to go to other places, connect with other people, learn about their backgrounds, their movement styles is such a blessing. And as much as I'm hoping to maybe share my own choreography, I'm also hoping to learn from everyone and to really build a broader community for dance generally. So my approach to teaching workshops is generally first going through how the movement should feel in your body, what the different hand gestures and footwork and the arm movements and the leg and your back and how all these different parts of your body should feel as you're going through the movement. But on the other side of that, I also like to approach it by sharing how I felt when I was listening to music and when I was choreographing it and what my intention was behind certain movements. And so I think between the two, the hope is that dancers are able to ground the movement in their own body and to learn the intention behind it, but then to make it their own as they continue drilling it and as we continue adding choreography on. I think workshops are called workshops, for me at least, because they're a space where dancers or people who are looking to get into dance can come in, they can look at a piece of work, and then they can decide how they want to then sculpt it and mold it for themselves and how they then want to express themselves through that. Even without classical training, I think there's still a lot to be gained from the workshop. The hope is that for classical and non-classical dancers alike, that you get an idea of how the movement should maybe sit in your body and that you can take it home with you. Workshops aren't finite in that after the 2 hours you stop and never revisit it again. The hope is that after going through it, after experiencing it and being in that room, that if that's something that interests you, that you'll pursue it. So maybe in this case, if the Kuchipudi style of movement is something that you enjoy, that you can tap into that and learn a little bit more and find more ways to get into Kuchipudi. Or if the song is something that you really enjoy, hopefully the workshop exposes you to a new way of thinking about the song or a way of expressing yourself to that. So that's also something that you can take away. And if nothing else, you're able to share space with the community and just express your energy. It isn't meant to be a stressful environment. It's meant more so for you to just be exposed to maybe another way of thinking about dance. So that's the hope, and definitely not limited to people with classical experience. Anyone's welcome to attend and enjoy and to hopefully learn something new. I think first and foremost, what I hope people walk away with from my workshop is a sense of satisfaction of maybe having learned something new. Maybe not everyone's been exposed to what Kuchipudi is. I hope maybe you walk away with a sense of curiosity. And ultimately, I hope people walk away with kind of just a sense of happiness that you got to dance for 2 hours. I also hope that people walk away with the sense that everyone is eternally a student, especially when it comes to art. There really is no ceiling. You can keep growing and evolving and learning from other people and finding new things within yourself that you didn't know existed. So I hope that people realize that this is just a 2-hour period, but that you can explore for a lifetime and that it's not really a finite process. My creative process is very instinct driven. It is when I latch onto a piece of music, I like to think about what in that music really spoke to me, and then I just start moving. And it is very iterative. It's never a one and done. It's I put something out there, sit on it for a few days, and then I go back and revisit and maybe tweak what I didn't like the first time. And the thing about choreography is that it's also not finite. So many choreographers will probably tell you that they'll keep revisiting pieces because every time they do it or perform it, they find something that maybe they didn't like so much or something that they want to add or something they want to tweak a little bit. My process, I think, is constantly evolving, but it is at its core just my gut reaction to music put on paper, if you will. When I'm choreographing, though, part of the instinctual nature of the process is not only reacting to the music, but it's also trying in myself to understand the story I'm trying to tell and the point I'm trying to make. And it doesn't necessarily have to be clear to everyone watching it, but if it's clear to me, then I feel satisfied with kind of what I've put out. And so also when teaching workshops, that's what you hope people take away from it too, is that maybe they come in with their own stories or their own baggage or their own experiences that they want to put on paper, and maybe this choreography is the vehicle for that. What I hope people walk away with is a sense of having told their story in their own way. And with that, I think being able to travel to all these different cities and learn everyone's story and to be able to meet people is very exciting. And I can't wait to meet the communities in New York, DC, Philadelphia, Chicago, wonderful cities where I know the dance scene is really popping off. And so can't wait to meet you all and so excited to dance together. One really interesting thing I've learned since dancing in New York is that genre as a concept is very fluid. I was trained in Kuchipudi, but I've also been exposed to forms like jazz, contemporary, hip hop, and I'm very much a student of those as well, still learning and refining and honing my technique. But what I've learned from other choreographers and dancers is that once you have an understanding of the different techniques you're trying to blend together, that you are able to blend, because then it becomes your own creative blend of movement, and that we're not, as humans, limited to one style of expression, that we're allowed to genre bend, as I like to say, and move across those boundaries and really intentionally create the art that we want. And I think that's a really important message generally for dancers, is that be intentional about what you're learning, but it's okay to cross boundaries, because expression in and of itself isn't limited. It's not boxed. You're allowed to create and move outside of those lines. And that's a really important lesson I've learned, and I'm still learning and hoping to develop. I like to sleep because genuinely 24 hours are not enough. But there's not enough time in the day to do anything else really. But when I do find myself with the odd evening off, I love baking. I love watching the Great British Baking Show. And usually what I feel is that I can go to bakeries better than I can bake. But if I feel confident in my skills, I will bake. Or I do love traveling. I love wandering and just like going to a city and just getting lost a little bit. One of my favorite things to do.
Ready for it?
Ready?
Okay. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Ooh, sunrise, sunset.
Sunset.
Okay. Routine or spontaneity?
Routine.
Okay. Minimal or dramatic?
Ooh. Minimal in real life, dramatic in dance.
Ooh, love that. Okay. Travel for work or stay close to home?
Travel for
Yeah,
work.
that was a good one. Okay. What's your favorite dessert?
Oh, cake, chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake?
Will be basic, but I love dessert generally. If you have bakery Rex, let me know.
Oh, amazing. Okay, last one. Early bird or night owl?
Aspirationally an early bird, but realistically night owl.
Okay, perfect. And then last question that you can kind of just think about and answer as we close is if you could showcase one piece of work on the Times Square big screens, what would it be and why?
Wow. I genuinely think it would be Authority Padilla, the last dance workshop I did with Arambam. Genuinely because that song has been running through my mind for years now. Whether I'm on a plane or a train or just like sitting at home, I was always thinking about that song before I taught it. And I would want to iterate on that choreography more and more, but I think that song just fundamentally speaks to me in a way that I would love for it to be on a Times Square billboard.